Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Dope and Dharma. This is the Dharma Time Hour, and I, of course, am the Dharma guy, and that is the one and only, the Dope Doctor. What's up, man?
What's up?
You're looking very tan today.
Appreciate it. I just look so dark.
You're living that good life, man. You're living that NASCAR life, the beach life. You're out there living your best life, man. We're all just watching in awe, man. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
You can't golf yet. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, we're just hey, man. We're blessed you remember to hang out with us every now and then.
I thought I'd give you at least 30 minutes, so be wise with it, Trinity. Be wise.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. We have 30 minutes. It's gonna be a short show today, guys, because I'm actually getting back into the life, and I'm gonna go train a client today. So, and he didn't have time for the rest of us, so he's squeezing us in between his celebrity meetings and stuff. So we gotta utilize him while we can, everybody.
You've already wasted 5 minutes of it.
Anyways, as always, this is Dope and Dharma. This is Dharma Time, where we talk about spiritual issues, things of that nature. And based upon recent events, I think today was a good day to talk about gratitude. I figured, well, it's always a good day to talk about gratitude, but I just think it's one of those ones where it's always good to remind, right? Like, I think we all kind of collectively know it. It makes sense to all of us. We'll express it to people, but it's also the one we most conveniently and most often forget, right? Because it's so damn easy to get caught up in the drama, right? Like, it's so easy to get caught up in what isn't going your way that it's oftentimes very hard to remember what to be grateful for and have gratitude. And while there's certain moments that might not be going your way, overall there's a lot that is going your way. And it's also one of the ones that when you're in the midst of it, the last thing you want to hear is somebody telling you to be grateful about the good things, right? So, enter us telling you all to be grateful about the good things. So, I guess we'll start there, man. It's a good place as any. So gratitude. One of the things that I am most thankful for, and it always raises an eyebrow whenever I say this to people, until after I explain myself, but one of the things I am most grateful for is my shortcomings, my failures. The things I didn't do right. The things that I thought I had a good plan and I had everything lined up, and it just went completely off the rails. I'm probably the most grateful for those moments, because for me, it's in those moments that I feel like I get better. It's in those moments where I kind of realize what I'm made out of and where I need to adjust and improve. So for me, that's what I'm most grateful for. Like right now, I'm definitely going through some interesting times, both of us medically, or it's not been a really good, last 6 months. And some would call that a failure, I guess, in a sense, a failure to maintain the status quo. But for me, I think it's a win. Right, I think it's a win in my book. It's a win because it helped my family. We came together a little bit, and we modified some of our systems that we have in place. And some of those systems needed to be looked at, and now is an opportunity to look at those systems. Even in your place, I think a lot of people got a chance to realize exactly how important you are to the community around here, especially the addiction community. So I think a lot of people got a chance to reevaluate that and say, wow, okay, maybe we need to support a little bit more, things of that nature. So I think that, I think our failures are good. I think in the moment they suck, they feel bad, but in the big scheme of things, I'm grateful because I think that they help us all improve. Not to go back to sports analogies, but you never learn anything if you're winning all the time. Right? Like, if you're going up against inferior teams and you're just rolling all over them, how often are you going to look back and say, hey, what can we do better? What can we improve? You're not. Why? I'm winning. There's no need to. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then when you come across a team that you're not, that isn't inferior to you, and you actually really have to come together and play as a team, you might lose because you're not used to getting better. You're not used to tightening things up. And so I think that's where the losses come in. And I know you for the most part agree, so I'll let you chime in on that one.
No, I'm going to continue with that sports analogy because now I'm going to flip it to NASCAR because now I'm doing a lot more NASCAR and it's not football season yet, although these trades are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This is free agency's related. But this is Dharma time. This isn't the morning after show. So anyway, following that analogy, if you're up front all the time and constantly leading, you don't know what adjustments to make
Yeah.
to things that you're going to need in the past. So like, what if you're behind somebody? What if it's not working out well? What if you get back in the pack? Then because you're not adjusting your vehicle because you're leading and you're running fast, and the people behind you are adjusting when it comes to that final few laps. They've made adjustments all race long, so they're ready to pass you up, and you haven't, so you're still doing the same thing you were doing, and it is like that in life, right? So like if you're always winning and you're always doing well, you're probably not looking to adjust a lot. However, Trinity, what I would see, yeah, I mean, what I find, and it's really interesting, right? When I get around a lot of the people that I get around, and they're being highly successful in whatever they're doing, they do a lot of work. They work hard.
Yeah.
They're always working on themselves. They get up really early. They do a lot of things really early. They don't really stay out real late at night and just screw around. They maximize their time when they have it. They rest when they need to rest. They eat when they need to eat. They work out. I mean, I've been blessed to be around a lot of successful people, and they tend to have routines. They tend to bookend their day in a certain type of way, and
Yeah.
they're very ritualistic on how they bookend their day. And I will say, the times in my life where I felt the least successful, it was when I was undisciplined within that 24-hour period.
Right.
I didn't have a specific time that I got up, or a specific routine in the morning, or a specific routine at night to kind of close it off. And so I think that if you're ever struggling with not feeling grateful for your day, just start by structuring that day and putting things in it and making sure you do those things within that time period. It's 11:11. Look at that, that number that everybody likes to feel a certain type of way about. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's the first
It's not
time we've been
11:11
on.
probably when you're watching this later or
Yeah.
whatever, but it was at the time that I just said that.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, man. I know for me, I am a big creature of habit, which is both a plus and a negative, right? Like it's a plus because it helps keep structure. It's a negative because sometimes I become too attached to that routine, and then if there's a slight alteration, it can ruin my whole day, right? And then that's where the gratitude comes in. Is once again, it is so easy to fall into that trap of focusing on what didn't go right. You have this idea in your head of how everything's going to go. And when it starts to deviate from that, instead of adapting, we typically kind of like get upset and pissed off and like, oh, why is this happening? And it's always going to go. That's called life being life. Life doesn't care what your plan was. Like sometimes it coincidentally goes along with your plan and you're lucky and that's awesome and good for you. But the majority of the time, life doesn't care. Life is just doing what it does. It's up to us to adapt and be flexible with that. And part of that adaptivity, I think, is gratitude, man. Like, I really am a grateful person. And I noticed that for me personally, my life took a major change when I started being more grateful. And I don't think that was a coincidence, right? I was a bitter, pissed off individual, many years ago. It was prior to me finding spirituality. And I never had much nice to say around the people around. I focused on the faults of the people around me, on the areas in which they were coming up short. Even with myself, probably more harshly on myself than anybody. I paid attention to the areas that I was coming up short of my own goals. And I was just pissed off, and I was moderately successful in the things that I was doing because I was goal oriented and really focused on that. But boy, was I not happy. Like I just was miserable. And when I started finding spirituality and I learned to have a little bit more compassion for myself, and part of that compassion, was gratitude, being grateful for the lessons that I've learned, being grateful for the things that I have in my life, and what I noticed is my success stayed the same or got better. But I changed my definition of success, right?
That's what I was about, yeah.
So before, my success, I measured really only in dollars and goals met. But now I measure my success in am I happy? Am I a positive, a force in the people's lives around me? Am I being a good father? Like, there's other things that's my definition of success now. Because, money it comes and goes, dude. I've had lots of money and I've had no money. It comes, it goes. It's a tool. Don't get me wrong, you need it, and it sucks when you don't have it. But if you're basing your happiness and your success only around money, it's going to be a long life. It's because the universe is not working with you when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so I think it's in those times where you really do have to focus on the things in life that make you happy, man. Like I said, gratitude. And for me, that's when it changed. When I started being more grateful, when I stopped focusing on what didn't meet my expectations and started focusing on all the good things. And I do that now with like my kids, right? Like when I pick up my kids from school, I say to them, my own little routine. There we go with that routine again. I pick them up from school, and I always ask them, "How was your day? And what did you learn today?" Well, when I would ask them how their day was, they would say sometimes they would say bad. I'd say, really, your whole day was bad, or was it just like a couple minutes within the day that something didn't go the way you wanted it to? And so even at an early age, I'm trying to train them to stop. And we're all guilty of it, right? Like they have a 24-hour period, and in that 24-hour period, maybe 8 minutes don't go the way that they wanted it to go. It wasn't inherently bad either, by the way. It was just it didn't go as expected. And then somehow, when I ask them at the end of their day how their day was, their response is, "Oh, I had a bad day." Not that I had a bad moment or I had a moment that no, a whole day, and we're all guilty of it, right? Like how many of us have woken up and gone out to the kitchen or whatever, started our routine, something falls, something's broken, maybe you step in dog vomit or something, just things start piling up on you, and you start to think, oh my God, this is a horrible day. It's going to be a horrible day, right? Well, not really. Right, the gratitude way of looking at it is, well, you woke up in a home, right? There's plenty of people who don't have those. You woke up. That's a pretty big start right there as well. I'm going to venture a guess that you probably have people in your life that care about the fact that you woke up or not. You may or if you're getting ready for work, you have a job to go to. So my point is, there's always better. There's always something to look to that is better than what it could be. We're getting a ton of comments, by the way.
Yeah, Trinity. Let me ask you a question from Julie Hoyt. Julie Hoyt on Facebook Live. So if you listen to the show, you can watch it, live as it's going on Facebook Live. If you catch it, so you got to follow Dope and Dharma in order to get that notification. But Julie Hoyt says, Trinity, what was the first step in your gratitude process? Sometimes it can feel like pushing a boulder up a mountain.
Ooh, that is a good question. I think compassion for myself, right? I think that was the first step for me, was learning how to love myself. I was so focused on fixing things about me and achieving things or whatever that I didn't give myself compassion. I didn't look at myself and say, dude, you've been through a lot and you're doing quite well. Like, I didn't do that. And I still kind of, at times, that is a passenger that every now and then rears its head up. But I'm a lot better these days now of seeing that and telling them to shut up, basically. But I think that was my start, was starting to love myself and giving myself compassion. When you're compassionate towards yourself, it's a lot easier to have gratitude for your wins as opposed to anger at your losses. But I agree with you. It can feel like pushing a boulder up a hill. Absolutely. But I think loving yourself is a fantastic start. What about you, man? What do you think?
Yeah. My start was just recognizing that I was negative, that I had a very negative view on life, and it wasn't getting any better. And so I knew I needed a restart. I knew that I needed a refresh. And I started realizing how I was contributing to a lot of the negative energy that was coming my way. Like, for instance, I was still angry in my first 4 years of recovery, actually. I was still very angry. Even when I met Dana, I was still very angry. I was still very volatile. So, for instance, when I'd get pulled over by a cop, I had a certain way that I behaved or attitude about it. Even if it could have went smooth, it was just a speeding ticket. It's not a big deal, but I took it to a whole other level. And it wasn't until Dana would kind of tell me, hey, you're acting like this, or you're acting like this in certain instances. I mean, there was a guy one time that was at our college. We were, I was 20 years old. She was 19. And this guy was riding his bike down the sidewalk. And I felt like, well, number one, he shouldn't be riding the bike on the sidewalk. We're walking on the sidewalk. So either he's going to have to get off the sidewalk and go around us, or if he thinks I'm going to move for him on a bicycle, this dude, he clearly doesn't know who I am, because he doesn't know how important I am. So I had this level of self-importance and aggression and insecurity that I was carrying around. And he didn't know that. So he was riding the bike. The girls move over, so that probably gave him the impression that I'm going to move over. But no, I chose to not move over, and instead I knocked him off the bike. And I thought, man, I just impressed my now girlfriend. I just impressed her friend. I thought they were going to be all cool with it. The guy got up. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He apologized, got back on his bike. And I'm like, yeah, damn straight. Yeah, you better watch where you're going. And the girls were like, Dana looks at me, she goes, wow, that was such an asshole move. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was a lot of those. It was a lot of those early on. Like there was an old couple that cut us off in line getting on a bus one time in St. Pete, and I got all pissed off about it. She's like, whoa, it was instance after instance where something normal to me that my friends wouldn't have called me on it. My friends would have been cool with it. My friends would have
Right.
laughed about it. My circle of influence wouldn't have addressed me. But instead, Dana was different, and Dana would be like, God, the way you're acting, the way you're talking, the way, and constantly, I had to rethink and be like, man. So I start a lot of the problems. I start a lot of the
Right.
aggression. I start the negative energy. Here, I thought I was saying something to somebody, like if they would tell me, hey, have a nice day. I was thinking, don't tell me what to do. I just
Yeah.
had that whole wrong attitude about the way I was carrying myself. So to me, that's where it started. Before I could even get to where loving myself, like what you're talking about, I still had to just recognize that I'm contributing to the problem, and so something has to be done.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, man. I think self awareness is paramount in any process, really, but especially of trying to be gratitude, because you do have to be aware
Right,
of what you're bringing to the table, man.
right,
Because the common denominator in all the things that you're experiencing is you, and your outlook,
right,
your way of assessing the situation and deciding to move forward is creating the environments that you're in. And so, if you don't want to be there anymore, only you can change that. And like I said, for me, it was loving myself enough to allow myself to be grateful, right? Because there was a part of me that, how am I going to be happy if I didn't hit my goal? If I'm supposed to do this, how can I look at anything positive when I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve? That was a
right,
failure. Blah blah. It was a very very staunch black and white kind of approach to things.
right.
And like I said, it's great for trying to be successful and stuff, but it sucks at being happy, man. When those standards are that high, it is very difficult to meet, especially as you get older.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, here's the cool thing is that as we get better, right? As we start, getting better at practicing gratitude, you start noticing that getting back to Julie's, you know, boulder up a hill. What, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I saw you doing this. I didn't know if were you talking
No, oh,
or were you just
you must
mouthing?
be late. It must be a lag
I
on your
might be.
end.
There's a lag. All right, never mind. So anyway, um, when I was the notches, just notching just a little bit, just a little step forward, just a little step forward. And what I started being okay with is just, all right, I got to be grateful with just, first of all my problems are first world problems. Let's recognize that right off the bat, right?
Yeah,
All my problems are first world problems. And so initially that didn't used to make me feel better. If somebody said, hey, like when you said earlier, at least you have a home, at least and I'd be, yeah, that didn't make me feel better because I could
right.
tell you all the stuff I don't have. That wasn't
Sure.
satisfying enough, right? But I started realizing, all right, so first of all, I'm already blessed with what side of the border I was born on. All right, so let's first be grateful. Then I'm secondary blessed by my parents may not be perfect, but they're friggin' pretty awesome, man. And I'm not having some of the parental issues that other people are having. So even though we don't just get better by comparing ourselves to others, it does give you at least the ability to be grateful for what you have. Now, mind you, it's different. It's not saying I'm better than, it's just saying that would lead to a different set of circumstances. What we're used to doing is comparing ourselves to those that have more or something that we want. And we're not used to looking down the other direction and going, yeah, but I do have more than that. You're never at the bottom, right? And Trinity and I, we always talk about that. There is that person out there,
Yeah,
and
whoever it
I'm not that
is,
person.
sucks to be
And
them.
I'm pretty sure that person's not watching or listening because they don't have internet. That person
Yeah,
does not have internet, Wi-Fi, cell phone, nothing. That
yeah,
person truly is at the bottom. And I feel for you, person, whoever
yes.
you are, but I'm not you, and I'm glad I'm not you. So initially, I used to start doing these little practices, like when I'm driving down the road, and remember when some people probably still do. Remember, a lot of people used to do it. They used to like tie their muffler up with the wire
Yeah,
hanger.
yeah,
You know, I would see that, and I would think, instead of looking down on them or bad, I just would say, I'm not in that position today. I'm real grateful that my muffler doesn't look like that right now. And there was and I started doing those little practices, and I started realizing, wow, instead of looking at the Ferrari and go, man, that's a cool car.
right.
I looked all around at all the other situations that weren't really good situations in my view and go, wow, there's a lot more to be grateful here than not, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, if I see somebody and I see their girlfriend or wife like just belittling them. I'm like, ooh, God, I'm glad Dana doesn't talk to me like that. There's so many little situations where I could point out and be like, man, I am a blessed man. So you'll always hear me say I'm a blessed man because even my worst days, they're good. It's still first world
Yeah.
problems, first world issues. I am good.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I started to do many years ago was just I'm good, man. Like I'm not saying I'm happy with every single detail of my life. Like don't
Right,
confuse
right,
my contentment with
right.
everything being satisfactory because I can assure you it's not.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, that's not what I base my happiness on, right? Like my contentment with things is different, right? Like, the medical things that happen, those suck, dude. I mean, for both of us, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that those are awesome experiences to have. No, but I came through them, and I had a lot of loving family and friends around me to support and all this other stuff. Like, that's pretty awesome, man. There's people out here who don't have that, and so yeah, I think that paying attention to the little things really do matter.
right.
Um,
No,
you know, go
the
ahead.
other thing, Trinity, can I say this real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to
go
cut you
for
off,
it.
but there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that have passed away at a time in their life where they weren't shining, or at
Right.
least they couldn't see the sunshine that they were giving out. So, unfortunately, that's the way they're remembered. And so, one of the things that I've always been grateful for, as bad as I have been in my life, is some of the negative stuff that I have contributed to this world. I'm glad I didn't die in those moments where that was my legacy, that that's the way I'd be
Yeah,
remembered. So
yeah.
I am grateful that I have another opportunity to build a different story, to complete the story in a better way. And that's another thing to be very proud of. So whatever you've done out there, if you feel like a piece of shit, if you felt like you've been negative, if you feel like you've been wrong, you feel like the whole story has been written. So no, but I'm not you, Louis Delgado. Oh, look at my story. Look at what I've been doing. I don't have the years of recovery. I don't have Dana. I don't have it. No, no, no. But that's today. You've been blessed with another opportunity to still build your tomorrow. Your
Yep.
tomorrow is not done. Now, you don't know how much sand is in that hourglass. So I assure you, you better go out there and run and go do something because you don't know how much sand is left in that hourglass. All
Yep.
you know is what's filled at the bottom of that hourglass. Yes, that's full. All you know is that point where the sand is running. You know that's your current time, but you don't know how much time you have left, and that is what you need to be looking forward to. You need to be saying, since I do not know that number, I better go out there and build the kind of legacy that I want, and be grateful that you have the opportunity to do that, regardless of what it may be, as small as it may be. It's small to you, but as long as you affect one other life, that's not a small deal. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, man, I got to echo that. One of the things that I'm most proud of is when people are shocked to find out who I was, many years ago. Because for me, it feels like I put a lot of work in to not be that person anymore. And as you, I'm grateful that I was able to to turn the tide. And that's the beautiful thing about life, right? It's like every minute is a new minute to start something new. Like it's never too late to start, man. Like you can decide right
Yeah,
now. Like if you're
yeah,
sitting here listening to this right now and you're thinking, man, I'd like to be more grateful about things, and yeah, these guys are making some good points. There's nothing stopping you from starting right now. Don't say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. No, no, no. Start now, man. Just look around you and think of something that you're grateful for. Think of something around you or in your life right now that if it were to disappear tomorrow would suck. That's
right.
gratitude. You know what? I'm grateful that didn't disappear. That's pretty cool that I
Right.
got that. And for me, even, I'm gonna start. We're gonna have to start wrapping up here in a minute because I gotta get off here. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so when one of the coolest things that shocked a lot of people when I was doing the groups, right, for the addiction stuff, I would tell them thank you, right? Like I would thank them for participating in the group the way they were. And a lot of times they would look at me puzzled, like they didn't understand what I was trying to say to them. I was like, look, man, there's a lot of people in this world. There's billionaires out there, and they can't buy the moments that we just had. Like you allowed me into your life for this last hour and shared things about you and talked to me and let me into who you are as a person. And that's pretty damn cool, man. Like that's a moment that nobody can buy, nobody can take. Like that's a moment between human beings connected on a level and shared and things of that nature. And I think that's pretty damn cool. And we have those, right? There's people in your life right now that could choose to be anywhere, do anything, but they chose to talk to you. They chose to text you, call you, whatever it might be. That's pretty damn cool when you think about it, right? Like they chose to share that moment with you, or to get your opinion. You meant enough to them to reach out, or talk, email, text, whatever it might be. I think we take that for granted because it's so easily accessible these days. But at the end of the day, that's pretty cool, man. It's a pretty cool idea that somebody took time out of their day to just want to know what you think or whatever it is, that you meant enough to them, you were on their mind or whatever. And so, yeah, I used to get a lot of weird looks when I would tell them thank you, because they never really, I guess they looked at me as thinking it was just a job or something. And I was like, no, man, like, you guys are human beings. Like, this is a real, like, I still remember stories of people who told me 10 years ago. Like, I remember those moments because they had an impact on me. Like, it meant something to me that another human being opened themselves up and shared enough to me. And so for me, it was hard to then go have like a bad day. When I'm thinking like, dude, this human being opened and connected to me on a level that they didn't with anybody else today, and I was privileged enough to experience that. How am I going to then turn around and have a bad day because I got stopped at a stoplight or something? You know, like it was really hard to do. And so when you start to look at things that you like and look at things that you want in your life, it's really difficult to be bitter and angry after that. So we do have to go. So you got any wrap ups for me?
No. Trinity, there's absolutely zero wrap ups. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everybody else out there. I'm grateful for a lot of things, but what I'm going to tell you this is you have a job to go do right now, and I know you've been dying to get back to work. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that you did not. I'm grateful that you did not. Have all that could have come with what you just recently experienced, and that's obviously a different conversation. But you better get going, brother, because it's a 30-minute ride for you, and it's 11:30. You got to be there soon. So that's it, man.
Yeah, that's all I got as well. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Make sure to like and share, or anything that you guys, if you got value out of this, just be grateful. There's always something to be grateful for. That's really all I got for you guys. So now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.